wants to have a discussion, this is not the forum. So our current year 10s and even our year 9s, I have a son in year 9, he's going to go through the current system as well. He's going to be the last one. I have a daughter in year 8 and she's going to go through the new system. So that'll be a bit of a learning experience for all of us. NCEA Level 1. So to gain NCEA Level 1, students must achieve 3 things. First of all, they have to get 80 credits from assessments that they do throughout the year. 10 of those credits have to come from what's called the co-requisite literacy standard. Another 10 have to come from the numeracy standard, and then 60 from the other subjects that students sit during the year. This is kind of the relatively recent system they've brought in. It used to just be 80 credits, and the literacy and numeracy credits came from some of those standards that students set, but they now have a specific literacy and numeracy standards all students have to sit, and we'll talk about them a little bit more later. Next one, Ms. Sparky there. So you can also gain what's called endorsements in our NCEA Level 1. To gain an endorsement with merit, they have to get at least 50 credits at either merit or excellence. If they want an excellence endorsement, they have to gain 50 credits at excellence level. So when they sit standards, they can gain the credits at 3 levels. They can either get achieved, which means they've got the credits, achieved with merit, which means they've done really well on that test, or achieved with excellence, which means they've done really, really well on that test. And as you can see, getting a lot of merit and excellences means that they're going to get endorsed overall if they achieve enough of those credits at that level. Many of our high achieving students will aim for merits and excellences in all of their tests, and many of them gain endorsements either at the end of the year in overall or in subjects, which we'll talk about shortly as well. We'll just do the next one here. So as well as getting an overall endorsement, you can also get a subject endorsement 3 different ways. You can get an achieved endorsement if you've achieved at least 14 credits in that subject. You can get a merit endorsement if you've got 14 credits at merit or higher, or you could get an excellence endorsement if you've got 14 credits at excellence or higher. That is not always easy to do, but students who get that show that they have a very, very kind of good grasp and almost a mastery of that subject. So we do have a few students each year who gain merit and excellence endorsements in subjects, which shows that they're really, really achieving very highly in those subjects, which is good. So the literacy and numeracy, this one's a little bit new even for our teachers. It's been kind of going through for a few years now, so we're getting a bit of a handle on it. To gain NCEA at any level currently, students have to achieve these 10 credits in literacy and 10 credits in numeracy. A good way that I had seen this talked about is the credits that are in these literacy and numeracy standards that students sit and achieve. They kind of activate the rest of the credits that they're achieving. And so if Ms. Parky goes to the next one there, to get NCEA at level 1, or in fact at any level, 2 and 3 included, they have to achieve these 10 literacy and numeracy credits. And many, many students will actually achieve this in year 10, because we're allowed to start sitting it whenever students are ready, and so many of our students will sit in year 10. In fact, we've got students here that will be probably entered for that coming up in early September, and see how they go.
All the parents here, their children will be sitting in September, in 2 weeks' time.
Yep, so 2 weeks' time, your students will be sitting these literacy and numeracy co-requisites, kind of their first taste of real NCEA perhaps. And the great news is, as soon as they've got these, all of their other NCEA level, any level credit just gets activated automatically, and then they don't ever have to sit them again. Okay, so they just need them once. Once they've achieved, we can forget about them. They're at their level for literacy and numeracy, and they don't have to worry about it. And I don't want to scare anyone, But it's not a problem if you don't achieve it in year 10. We have another couple of opportunities to sit this and achieve it again in year 11. And we even have some year 12 students who, especially for our international students who have come over, they're trying to get NCEA level 2 or NCEA level 3. They haven't got the numeracy and literacy from year 10 or 11, so they're actually sitting at year 12, and then that activates all of their credits, and then they get NCEA level 2 or 3 or whatever they're aiming for. So it works really well. Yeah, like I said, they only need to be achieved once. It's not like they have to sit them again every year and then get them again. Once you've got it, it's in the bank, all your other credits are valid, and you can get NCEA, and you're good to go. Cool. So kind of a bit of terminology around NCEA. It is a little bit different to the previous system that was in school, and so try and go through some of these differences perhaps. Subjects, used to have subjects in school, but now we have these things called courses. It's very much a name change. You still have the subject maths, but now it's called a maths course for some reason. Each course, or each subject, is made up of standards. And so what we used to say maybe was topics, we now have standards that are split up into different things that are in the course, and students will sit. So the standards contain the information for teachers and students about what they're learning, what the assessment process might be, and also how many credits that they are going to get there. Usually a subject or a course will contain standards that will allow students to achieve about 15 credits. And so often in year 11, one of the more recent changes is that's about 3 different standards that students will sit. And they used to be a little bit smaller, so there used to be maybe 5 or 6, but they've tried to reduce it down to 3. And so the standards have gotten a little bit bigger, and as Mr. Gardner back there will be able to tell you, it means that some of those math standards are quite a lot of information that students need to know, and then they're doing assessments based on all of that stuff, or maybe not all of it, maybe just part of it, but kind of assuming the students know the rest of it as well. So as a year 11 student, most students will have 6 subjects here at school, and if my maths is right, 6 times 15 is 90, and so not including our 10 credits literacy and 10 credits numeracy, students will have the option of gaining 90 credits throughout the year. The 15 is kind of it's an average. Some subjects are actually worth a couple more, some subjects might be worth a couple less. But it does mean that there's plenty of wiggle room, because out of that 90, to get 60, students will need to achieve enough standards in their different courses to get 60 credits, as well as those literacy and numeracy standards they've got previously. And then we'll award them NCEA, well, NCQA will award them the NCEA level 1. Just flip back for a second, miss. Does anyone have any questions about this? It may seem a little bit familiar because we've actually tried to base our junior kind of year 9, 10, even down to year 7, 8. We've tried to base that system kind of on this system. So you might have heard students come home and younger year levels say, oh yeah, we're doing this standard today, or we're doing this assessment for this. And we've tried to kind of mirror what NCEA looks like down at our junior school to prepare students for that. And so hopefully it's not all completely baffling. If it is, more than happy to help. Come and see me, send me an email, we'll set up a meeting and we'll go through it. Yeah. All right, next one. So alternative pathways. There's always some students, or there can be some students who maybe kind of traditional subjects, traditional schools doesn't quite suit them, or there's even some students who, yep, I really just want to be a plumber. That's great. Now do some maths, is what we say, unfortunately. But there are these alternative pathways for students who are looking this way. And so for students who maybe those 6 subjects initially are just too many subjects to all do in 1 year, it's more than possible to complete NCEA over 2 years if we need to. The students will simply have less to do each year and have more time around that, and then after 2 years they'll be awarded the same certificate as they need it. We also have Talent Central, which is a provider who has many links to local businesses, and they can actually organise placements and support students in becoming work ready if that's needed as well. We don't usually have too many students working on this in year 11, but in year 12 and 13 this can become a little bit more of a choice for students who maybe school, university kind of wasn't their track and they were looking to go to a trade or something different as well. The other option is our STAR and Gateway courses. There's plenty of options around. They're kind of short courses where students will go out and do work, often in a workplace or in kind of a industry that they're interested in. Sometimes they can gain credits from that as well, and sometimes they just gain the experience, and often they end up with a job offer. Or some students use this as quite. We had a student one year who decided, you know what, I really do want to be a plumber, and then she went and did I think it was about a 3-day plumbing course. And then she came back and said, you know what, I actually don't want to be a plumber. So she found something else to do. But it was good to have that experience rather than quitting school, going to sign up to be a plumber and then coming back and no, that's not for me. So yeah, these are these short courses that are a bit more practical, and some examples are up there. Usually we intend these for our year 12 students, as most of them offer level 2 or level 3 credits. Occasionally we have year 11 students jumping in on these, but it's not ideal simply because it's taking them out of classes, and like I said, getting those standards is quite important at level 1. The other option is what's called an STP program. Next one, Mrs. Fabian. There we go. And so these ones are a little bit more focused, and it gives students options for the pathways that schools can't offer so well. And so these ones mean the students are actually off-site in a different learning kind of environment. Often UCOL do quite a few of these for 1 or 2 days a week. And we always have some students going through this system here, and they often, like I said, they're getting credits at the level 2 or level 3 standards that they can then use often to support an apprenticeship or something like that they're getting into. And so we don't offer automotive engineering here at school, but we can put you in touch with people if that's the pathway that students are keen on. We can put you in touch with people who can organise it. Does anyone have any questions about our alternative pathways? Not a single question. Perfect. All right. So the other thing that parents often ask me, and you might all be experts at this already, but we'll go through it quickly just in case. How do I know if my student is achieving well? You can always go to our portal, which you might have already been to. So all the school reports actually get put up on here, and you can see the comments that teachers put on for assessments that your students might be doing. Next one, miss, we got, yep, so the portal address has changed recently, but the old one just takes you to the new one currently, so that's quite useful. Your username and password for your caregiver access will be hopefully sent to you. If you don't know what this is, you're welcome to check with your child, or you can let me know and I can reset it for you so you can get access. The most interesting thing that parents and caregivers are usually keen on is our current year results, because it comes up with the result that the student has got, or the standard that they're doing in which subject, the result they got, and sometimes a little comment where the teacher has written, great job, or here's how to get a merit, or here's why you got your excellence type thing. Yeah, there we go. So coming into level 1, especially next year, currently for our year 10 students, the NCEA summary is probably not very useful because there won't be much in there, but next year, once our students start studying level 1, that will be a bit more interesting, and it summarises their progress towards gaining level 1 for NCEA, so that can be quite handy. Let's do the next one. So if you're not sure about something and you need assistance, I'm sure you guys already all know this, you can always contact your year dean of your student at school. Different people, different years, but you're welcome to get a hold of them. If you need to talk to one of us, Miss Paki is here, myself's here, Miss Burnett's here as well, more than happy to help. If you're having trouble logging into the portal, feel free to get hold of me. It's a really easy process to reset your password, or what's my username, or weirdly enough, your username as a parent is your student's login and email. So if you're not sure, They should know that, but they won't know what your password is. So you can get a hold of me. Like I said, our SLT team is here. The other thing that I occasionally get asked is, what if my son or daughter really wants to do geography, is a great example. So we don't have a geography class this year because only one student wanted to take it. It's a bit tricky running a class with one student, given our smaller size. And so Te Kura kind of partnership with us, they're the online learning school, and they have subject experts that help many, many students in many different places. And so you can come and see me, and we can look at what a Te Kura subject might look like for a student. Or Mrs. King has lots of information about that as well. If you're wanting to have a chat about subject selection or advice, any of those people will be happy to help. Final notes. All right, we're nearly there. So the one kind of thing I say at the end of all this all the time is that NCEA Level 1 is that foundation. So we're still keeping it very, very general, especially at Year 11 for those students. So our compulsory subjects are still we've got the maths, we've got the science, we've got English for all students, and our religious studies for all students, given our special character. I occasionally get students who come and see me and said, can I just not do maths because I really don't like maths? I'm like, well, I mean, you could not do maths, but we do recommend that all students, at least at level 1, give it a try. Even level 2 is not a bad idea, because it still opens up many pathways later on. And it's not always a great idea to ask a 14 or 15-year-old if they love maths and want to do that for the rest of their life, because probably they don't. But it does allow more opportunities for later. So not doing maths at level 1 would be a great way to kind of close off some opportunities you might have in the future. And so we do recommend that most, in fact all students take that, just to keep your options open as much as possible. Learning in New Zealand covers 3 important aspects. So, as you know, we have our New Zealand curriculum, and the standards that are in our subjects will cover this stuff here. The content is kind of what we're all used to, like it's the trigonometry and it's the geometry and it's all that, but we also can assess the processes quite well as well. And I'm a physics teacher, and so instead of having students do an exam on how to do an experiment, we'll often assess them by getting them to do an experiment and show them how to do that. So it's one of the strengths of NCEA, is allowing those different modes of assessment and making sure students can actually do things when they're giving them those credits, rather than they can just write about doing them. So it's quite cool. And the other one is key competencies. You would have seen these come out on our school reports. And they're quite vague things, but these are more of those soft skills that allow students to be successful in a variety of different circumstances. And teachers don't necessarily assess these, but students who kind of are working on these and are successful at these are often quite successful at NCEA in general, because it does sometimes take collaboration to do that practical experiment with a partner and work together. They're always useful things. What did we have next? Here we go. So, coming very soon, the NCEA Level 1 selection booklet, which has a list of all of our subjects, a little bit of a blurb about each one, some possible standards that might be in those subjects. That'll be coming out soon, and we're going to ask our parents and caregivers, along with the students, to start making some selections for next year. See what those subjects looks like, and then we can start putting the timetable together and making sure we hopefully get most people what they want. Does anyone have any final questions?
Can I add a,
Absolutely.
Can I add a couple of things?
Sure.
Right, hopefully my voice will hear. I just thought what I'd add here with what Greg's been talking about is that thing of, if you are really focused on your child's learning at the moment, you are already set up for helping them with gaining NCEA, an NCEA qualification. So you'll know if your child has a test for maths on a particular day. You might even have it on a calendar or diary at home, or you've picked up from the portal when the test is on. You'll be priming them up about how much study they're doing. It might be a test they're doing. It might be a project that they're working on over a period of time. and you'll know that they might have little deadlines for it and that it's going to be due at a certain time. These are the sort of things they're doing now are the sort of things they're highly likely to be doing next year for their learning and for assessment. So in Year 11, Greg's talked about that they'll do 3 assessments in each subject. Yeah, and they're about 5 credits each.
Yep.
And in each subject, they're either going to be 2 internal and 1 external, or doing 1 internal and 2 externals. Does that make sense? So with the internal, that's something that's done through the year, and it's assessed by the teacher. Normally, yeah, there's little exceptions to everything. We don't want to go into too much in depth there. And so they'll do that through the year, and it could be a test, it could be a project, it could be a portfolio of work, it could be an essay that they have to do, it could be a research task, depending on the subject and the content that's being covered, okay? So that's the internal. For the external, some of them are done in the November external exam time period, but there's exceptions to that, because some are actually done when
they changed those.
They changed them back to. See, there's been changes even in the last 2 years. So an external is something that's done in November. Yep. It's done in an upstairs room there, under exam conditions, and the students will either have it as a digital exam, which they'll do on their computer, or there'll be a written, and it's more of a written. So for success, you're planning your child's success now by being aware of what they're doing, keeping up with it, knowing when their deadlines are. Every teacher produces a course outline at the beginning of the year, which has on it what topics are covered, what the assessment is and the type of assessment, and when that deadline is for it. So they'll give a time period. It might not be the exact date, but it would have the time period about when that's done. Really great thing, put that onto a calendar on your fridge or somewhere, and then you're keeping track. And that's one way of supporting from home to help engage that achievement. And another thing, probably, I just thought I'd encourage you with that. So the stuff you're doing now sets the foundation. Year 11 is a foundation course, pretty much. And so they have compulsory subjects now. Bible, called religious studies, English, maths and science. So they're what we do. Not all schools do it exactly like that, but we have those as subjects, not courses. So why are they courses? But they're still subjects. Science, for instance, has the science standards in it. Maths has the maths standards in it, etc. If you do art, it has the visual art standards, etc. So the students do those compulsory ones, and how many options do they get?
Year 11 get 2 option subjects. So they might have had a bit of a taste of some of those options kind of this year when they made selections, but next year they'll be kind of full year doing NCEA level standards, and like Ms. Bennett said, there might be some exams involved in that, there might be some portfolios of work that they need to do. But yeah, so they'll still have the 6 subjects. 4 of them we kind of say you need to do these because it sets you up for the future. 2 of them, maybe it's your passion, maybe you're kind of thinking you want to do this, maybe you want to give it a go, see if it is your thing. It doesn't lock you into anything. If you don't do, for example, if you don't do something at level 1, it doesn't mean you can't pick it up at level 2, but it's always a good idea if that's your passion, if you want to give that a go, give it a try. Yeah.
I thought I'd just add that. So it's not a big, nebulous thing out there, and there's all these technical things that you need to know about. That's just for level 1. And so when you get to level 2, it's like it changes slightly, because then the students have to get 60 credits, because they can use 20 credits.
No, they don't do the 20
sorry,
anymore.
I tell lies because I haven't been.
It's because of the literacy.
They've got these 60 credits, then they've got that 20 from the literacy and numeracy. If they don't pass the literacy and numeracy, and the literacy is broken up into reading and writing, 5 credits each, and the numeracy is just 10 credits, they don't get that, they can't get an NCEA qualification. They could get 110 credits in NCEA level 1, but if they don't get those reading, writing and numeracy credits, they don't get the NCEA. So that's become quite a big national priority, and it's been a steep learning curve for us, learning how to prepare students for it, because it is actually set at level 5 of the curriculum, which is actually the top end of year 10. So year 10 level of where the students are working at. So, but students should be sitting it when they're ready to sit it. And it will depend, each child will have a different pathway to getting there for it.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, many of our students, I think something like 40% of our students that are in year 11 this year actually achieved the literacy and numeracy last year while they were in year 10, and another 30% of them have achieved it this year already. And so there's a few students that we're working different ways to make sure they can get it, but yeah, it's a nationwide problem that there's one or two students in many schools that just are struggling to pass those, and the government currently hasn't offered a way to get it in a different way. And so, not that we're worried about it, because there are still a few things we can do, but I wonder, with the changes coming up, if the government will make some alterations to that shortly as well. But it's anyone's guess. We will keep you posted. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions about anything, you're welcome to come and see me. If you if you have any questions, if you suddenly go home and think, oh, I wonder about that, feel free to send me an email. I'll actually send this out, and Mr. Amel is going to send a link out to a live stream of this presentation as well, if you want to go back through and have a look. Hopefully that is, I mean, it is a lot of information, but if you need anything clarified, if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. Okay? Thanks for coming out, and I guess that is us.
Thank you.
No trouble at all.
So we just want to wish your children all the best when they're sitting the co-requisites coming up soon. It's pretty, you know, if it's the first time they've done it, it's a fairly nerve-wracking, or they may not realise the significance, and so they just get in and do it quite easily, because they're going to be doing it on their Chromebook, on their computer. But, you know, this is huge for them. But at the same time, so we've ascertained whether they're ready or not. So teachers have done a range of different testing. So we don't want to enter students who are not ready, because we don't want them to be experiencing not passing it, maybe not passing again, instead of just keep the learning going for it until they're ready. So we want to wish them all the best, and all the best with the things that you do to support. And thank you very much.
So I'll float around for a bit. If anyone
He's going to
has
be
any
harassed now.
questions, but
Oh, does your father know when all your assessments due?
enjoy your
I think so, yeah.
Just